Welcome to the Dog Nerd Show, where we geek out over our best friends. I'm Megan.
And I'm Michael, and this is a show about all things dog.
Hey, everybody. So today's show looks a little different. We are sorry that we did not have an episode last week, but our precious Finlay crossed over, and it was a tough week. So we lost him on Monday, October 4th, 2021. And so it's been heart-wrenching. We want to talk about what to expect when losing your pet. And hopefully there's viewers that have a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 7-year-old, and you're watching this, and don't turn it off, because we want you to consider some of this stuff before you get to the point where your dog is at his end time. So I got through it. Okay. First off, we want to say that one of the best things we think you can do, which we did not do, is start a savings account now for your pet. So if you can afford a Starbucks coffee a day, well, I would say one of those days, make your coffee yourself and put $5 into the bank for your pet's healthcare fund. It's really expensive, and this has been not only a trying time for us emotionally, but there were a lot of expenses. You guys know Finlay had a major surgery with a specialist, and specialists are always just walking in the door more expensive. So I don't even want to know. We borrowed money for the surgery. I don't want to know how much we have spent in the last since August of 2020. It's been a lot.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of funds out there that you can invest in that are for this.
Funds are like online banking.
No, they're funds. Okay. So they're online banking as well. So you could simply open up an online savings account, which would probably work just well. But some of the funds have a bigger return on them, so your money's working a little bit harder. I'm no financial genius at all, but
yeah, we're not going to recommend any products or companies, but
I will say though that if you go to your browser of choice, DuckDuckGo or whatever, and you type in pet savings funds, there are, I know NerdWallet was a pretty good place to go find some of this information, but there's tons out there. So I would highly suggest doing that.
That's right. You did a lot of your research on NerdWallet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely, y'all, think about it. For 17 years, we had Finlay, and if we had been putting aside $5 a week that whole time, that would have been considerable. I'm not doing the math in my head, but y'all can do it.
Yeah,
so please do that. That leads us to number 2, which is look into pet insurance. When we got Finlay 17 years ago, pet insurance was not what it is today. So we do want to research pet insurance companies, do some interviews, help you guys get information on them. If you do have pet insurance and you like it and it works for you, let us know.
Yeah, put something down in the description.
The comments,
because we on a personal level, we'd like to look into it. But what I have read and what I have researched, it has gotten better in the 17 years since we originally looked at it, and I think it's a very viable option now for people.
We even talked to Atticus's mom. Atticus was the Bernese Mountain Dog who has also since passed away, sadly, who had cancer. And she was saying the same thing, that insurance wasn't that great back then. But she said that you could even get catastrophic, which really would have helped us with that surgery.
Yeah.
So you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, God forbid, your dog gets hit by a car or something like that. I mean, we just met a puppy today who a 6-month-old puppy that had a broken leg because the leash got caught around her leg and she was jumping toward another dog. They didn't know the leash was wrapped around the leg and it broke her leg.
Broke her tibia.
Yeah. So just freak things happen. Little Finlay, he cheated death twice. That when he ate the sugar-free chewing gum and then when he got the rawhide stuck, that little guy was a fighter till the end. He inspires us so much. So look into pet insurance. You just never know what's going to happen. And like when we had that chewing gum incident, that was really expensive trip to the emergency vet. So
anytime you have to go to any place that's open 24 hours a day and it's got doctors in it, whether it's the hospital for you or the hospital for the dog, it is expensive.
Yeah. So, and that leads us to the next thing. Make sure you know the closest emergency vet to you. And also check to see if there is a 24-hour vet near you.
Those are two different things.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that till actually just
till Sunday
night, last week.
Monday morning. Yeah. So there is a 24-hour vet located not too far from us. And oh my gosh, we got out of there. It was just over $100.
Yep.
Finlay started having seizures in the night on Sunday, because you guys know this stuff always happens on the weekend. It never happens when your vet is in her office doing her thing. So he started having seizures, and thankfully Michael had taken some time to look at where we could go, because I was thinking we were going to need to go to an emergency vet, which was further from where this vet was. So 24-hour vet, they gave him some medicine and you know, took care of him so we could get through the night. But make sure you know where that is, and, you know, keep abreast of that because it changes. I know an emergency vet that was located near us is no longer operating. Obviously, with the craziness of 2020 and 2021 and lack of employees and money, and a lot of businesses are changing. So make sure you stay on top of your 24-hour vet or emergency vet location.
Yep.
And
just check, just call, go on websites, make sure they're still there, because you don't need them till you need them.
Yep.
And boy, I was happy they were there.
They were great. Okay. So now we talk about euthanasia. So like I said, unfortunately, most dogs don't just go to sleep peacefully and die peacefully in their sleep. In fact, I am on a lot of Facebook groups for senior dogs, and I can't tell you how many people are spending a lot of money on the care for their pets as they age. So again, that's why you need the savings account, because, you know, organs start to fail. You get dementia issues. There's all kinds of things that can happen with older dogs. And those of us who treat our dogs like our family, we are going to spend the money to take care of them. So euthanasia is going to be a decision you will probably have to make. You will need to decide, do you want to put your dog down at your vet's office or in your home? And I will tell you, some vets do this complimentary because you have spent time and a lot of money at their practice. And then and, you know, at-home euthanasia can be upwards of $350. We ended up choosing at home. We did, you know, and you guys, I have to say, like, I don't think we ever really had this discussion. I mean, I think we may have talked about it in passing, but Finlay declined so quickly that we weren't prepared to have all of our ducks in a row. No. And so literally it went like, we took him into the vet Thursday because he was walking in tight circles and having issues, and they thought it was one thing. And then he just wasn't getting better over the weekend. And then he started having seizures Sunday night. So it went super fast. So we had to make decisions really fast. It would have been a lot cheaper for us to have it done at our vet. They were going to charge us, but it would have been a lot cheaper. However, due to the recent whatever we're dealing with in this world, they would only have allowed one of us in, and that was not an option for us. There's no way. I know Michael would have told me to go in because Finlay was, you know, my heart and soul. But I know Finlay was just as important to Michael as he was to me. So there was no way that would happen. So we spent the money to have an in-home service come in and do it here. It was pricey, but they were very, very, very wonderful people.
Incredible people. Just professional, caring. They just, you could tell they really cared about what they did, and they knew the importance of what they did.
They did. They were so sympathetic, and
and it was real too, guys. It wasn't canned. It wasn't, hey, you're number 5 on my list of 10 today.
Yeah.
It was real. They really felt the pain.
And this was, they brought in a vet and a tech.
Mm-hmm.
So the technician also did some of the administrative stuff, like collecting payment and making sure your forms are all filled out. We can't state enough how wonderful these 2 women were. And I mean, so much so that they prepare you. They told us, exactly how the process was going to work. They let us know that since we have Riley, that she just let her decide if she wants to be in the room or not. Some dogs want to be there, some dogs don't. And for anyone that is considering where to do it, and if you do have the money to do it at home, it is helpful to do it at home if you have other pets, so that they are aware that their buddy has gone. Because a lot of times if you put your dog down at the vet or cat or whatever, the other animals in the home don't know, and they're still waiting for that furry friend to come home.
Yeah.
So Riley did, she did leave the room. She at one point scratched at the back door, and the technician went and let her out for us so we could still be with Finlay. Then when Riley had done what she wanted to do, barked at the neighbor's dog and scratched to come back in, they let her back in. They were very, very, very helpful.
Yeah.
You guys, our house was a mess because we were caring for Finlay all weekend, and we felt bad that, welcome to our, messy
our
house.
Mess. Yeah.
They don't care, and you shouldn't care either. I mean, it's just, you're going through a rough time, they understand. So they were very, very great women. And then they actually helped us with the cremation part of it. So we decided that, and this is something that you will decide, do you want burial or do you want cremation? And we didn't want to bury Finlay. We want to keep him with us wherever we go. So they work with a company locally that does the cremation. You can pay for a private cremation if you want to keep the ashes, or you can just have them cremated. And I don't know what they do with the ashes at that point, where they just cremate multiple animals at one time. So we paid for the private cremation. That included an urn. You could upgrade for, particular type of urn.
Right.
You could have the dog's name, engraved and things like that. So there's some options there, and that's honestly really hard to even make those decisions when you're.
What was incredibly helpful, because you're not in your right mind when you're dealing with this, is they kind of laid it all out for you, and they're like, if you do this, then you get this. If you do that, you didn't really like it. And what we went with the standard urn, and it is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And, I think the process, as much as it's painful, it was done very well, very professional, and very considerate of the people that were going through what we were going through. Because it was a very quick. It went from,
we think your dog has vestibular disease, which, if you guys don't know what that is, that's like kind of equivalent to when humans get vertigo. So he was walking, and he had been walking in circles, and he had been leaning to the left. So I took him in on Thursday, said, I want you to check his ears, because we thought maybe he wasn't eating because of dental stuff, but really we're thinking that there's something going on in the ears. So they cleaned his ears. They took out a plug, which is like wax and buildup. And the dog I got back couldn't even stand on his own. Now, they told me that this is because he's got vertigo. So,
and he had a lot of drugs in him too.
He had drugs in him. Not a ton at that point, but he had, their eyes start going real fast side to side. And that was the vertigo aspect of it. So, and I'll just recap this as quick as I can so you guys know what we actually went through. So everything, I called them on Friday. I'm like, he barked all day yesterday. He's barking today. And they're like, that's normal. You know, they don't know up from down. You know, they don't know where they are. And I've had vertigo. If any of you have had it, it feels like you're falling off the face of the earth. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So we were like, okay, you know, checked with the vet. They said this is normal. So Saturday, he was very peaceful. We watched our Georgia game. He slept next to me. He wasn't eating a lot, but they told us he may not eat because of the vertigo and the nausea. You get nausea when you get vertigo. So he was on 2 medications at that point that did make him really, you know, sleepy. But one was an antihistamine, one was a stomach medicine, and they both have side effects of drowsiness. So we were like, okay, you know, that's what it is. Well, Sunday comes along and we could get him to drink and we could get him to drink broth, but he really wasn't interested in any baby food, canned pumpkin, anything soft. And our fear was he's not putting any weight on his legs. Like we would hold him outside in the grass, and this poor little guy, he would collapse if you weren't holding him. So obviously we knew it was a problem. We were planning on being at the vet first thing Monday morning, and then Sunday evening he started having seizures. And it went, I would say Sunday night into Monday morning was
very quickly,
really quick. We suspect, you guys know he had a large mass on his neck, and it was on the left side of his neck, just left of center. We are thinking that he probably had a brain tumor. The 24-hour vet suspected a brain tumor, and then the doctor suspected a brain tumor. We had seen little flinches over the last couple of years. They tended to subside more recently. Mm-hmm. So we're wondering if maybe there was a brain tumor and that was maybe part of what we were seeing on the skin that was removed. Potentially when we had that removed, the blood supply went back to the one in the brain. And when this plug came out of the ear, did that just kind of upset the whole apple cart, so to speak? So I got to give a shout out to my dear friend Ray, who was a vet tech for 10 years, and he was on call with me all weekend. And, you know, he told me, he said, Megan, I and he thought the same thing. We kind of compared what we were thinking, because vestibular typically doesn't go like what happened with us. And he agreed that he thought those two, like that the cancers might be related, and that the taking out of the plug may have just kind of upset the tumor in the brain. But he did say to me, you know, if that it's not like you did anything to progress, you know, his end time. If that hadn't have happened, he could have just started seizing someday, and that would have been painful for him, and he would have passed, and it would have been very dramatic and painful. So, you know, we don't know. That's kind of our theory on what happened, but I'm telling you, it happened really, really fast. Boy, Finlay fought. He fought really, really, really hard, even when they administered the second shot. The first shot really sedates the dog. The second shot is what shuts everything down. His heart wouldn't stop. They had to go get more and inject another time. So he was a fighter. He has inspired us. The fact that I am making it through this conversation without losing it is that I've been trying to remind myself of all of the good times. We had 17 years and almost 8 months with him. And he inspired the Riley Carson series. He's the reason Finn is named Finn, but he inspired me to start drawing dog silhouettes so I could have cute stuff with border terriers on it and sell stuff on Etsy. He's the reason we started this podcast and video show. So
yeah, that's basically that behind us and what you see at the end of every episode.
That's our Finlay.
Yeah, that's Finlay.
Yeah.
With glasses on.
Yeah.
But that's Finlay.
Yeah. So
he didn't wear glasses in real life.
No, he didn't need glasses. But I say he inspired all of this because even though we got Finlay from a really great breeder, I went down the rabbit hole with dogs because I was supporting some local charities, and then I would see all of their posts in my Facebook, and I was like, how can anyone like surrender a dog, and how can people hurt dogs? Because the love I have for this little 17-pound creature is so massive. I don't understand how people can do this. So that is what inspired me to write the books, me to create Hound and Thistle, to sell stuff for dog lovers, us to start this show, because we want every dog to have the kind of love that Finlay and Riley have. So, yeah, that's, I mean, you know, we're getting through it as best we can. And if anyone else out there is grieving, I would say go through the old pictures and old videos. And
there's actually numbers you can call. You can, if you are going through any type of depression or grieving, and you need to speak to someone, please do.
We'll put that in the comments as well.
We were lucky. We were
Sorry.
lucky because, you know, we had each other.
Yeah.
And we also had Riley. So we had a support group. But if, you know, we've had friends that it was them and their dog. And so when their dog died, I mean, that's, you know, you're in an empty, hollow house at that point. And so if you are going through anything like that, please reach out for help. There's nothing wrong with that.
Grief is real, y'all. I mean,
yeah, it really, it physically hurts, and I can't explain it unless you've been through it. It physically hurts. It mentally hurts. And the best thing you can do is what Megan said, and that's to think back on all the good times you had and all the fun and laughing and even the stuff that made you frustrated at times. You know, that was just part of life. And so, yeah. And I want to take a second here and say something about this lady sitting next to me. The stuff that she has done or did over the past 2 years, taking care of Finlay, is saintly. And I mean, she has researched and visited, you know, multiple doctors and specialists and everything else. And he was lucky to have her. He really was. And so,
okay, now you're going to make me cry.
So, you know, and we're lucky to have her too. You know, Riley's, you know, lucky to have her, and I'm lucky to have her. But Finlay was blessed, and he knew it. And we were blessed to have him.
I was going to say,
you know,
he was such a gift from God. I mean, and I used to daily thank God for picking us to care for Finlay. Yeah. I mean, it just was such a blessing. Ray was telling me that there was actually a study that he read in, I think it was JAMA, that talks about grief physically changes not only your heart physically, but the way it beats. So there is a lot of physical effect of grief. And so we just, you know, if anyone is going through this or has gone through this recently, hang in there. You know,
yeah, it gets better.
It will.
Yeah,
it will. Just, you know, lean on your friends and family. Call a hotline if you need. Comment with us. You know, email us. We'd be happy to chat with you about it.
The bottom line, folks, is that part of it you can't stop. I mean, you're gonna grieve; it's gonna hurt. I get that, but the more prepared you are, going into it,
the easier
it will be, and it'll allow you to concentrate on that, dealing with that grief. Yeah. And you know, this, like Megan said, this was kind of expensive and took a toll on our finances, and you know. Shameless plug, but if you want to help us out, you know, her books, you know, you could purchase her books. They're on Amazon. We have our Etsy shop with our Hound and Thistle stuff. A lot of really cool things there. That would help us.
You can do your holiday shopping and get started now.
Yeah, that would help us, a lot if you're inclined to.
Yeah, we have people asking how they can help, and that would help, honestly. So, but don't feel like you have to.
No, we're not. I'm not asking for your money. I'm just saying that if you feel inclined, that's the best way to help us.
Yeah, and the best way to help yourself and your dog or pets is to be prepared.
Yeah,
and really, you guys, I can't stress enough how setting that money aside for your pet's care, how important that is. Yeah. And hey, look at it this way. If you have so much money saved when it's all said and done and you don't have to use it, take yourself on a vacation, because after you lose your dog, it's tough. And especially if you only have one pet and your house is empty, so just save that money up, because it gets so expensive, the whole process. And you know how it is. Medicine is practice, because they're not always sure what's what. So they try this, then they try that, so anyway, just be prepared.
So tell people where they can find us.
You can find us everywhere online at Dog Nerd Show. Sorry that I have been neglecting it, but y'all know where we've been. dognerdshow@gmail.com if you need to chat or want to just send us an email. RileyCarsonSeries.com, Etsy.com/shop/Hound and Thistle, and DogNerdShow.com.
Yeah, and also, folks, if it's not too much trouble, we'd like for you to give us a thumbs up if you like the content, and subscribe. And we put these out every 2 weeks, except for this one last time, so I apologize for that. But if you hit the little notification bell, it'll let you know when we do have a new video coming out. And we do appreciate you guys, and we hope that if you are going through any grief right now, we hope that it's shortened, and that you get through it with flying colors. We care about you, and we really enjoy doing these, and thank you so much for your support.
And if there's anyone that that is going to be dealing with this scenario, or any pet lover, share this with them. Help them be prepared too. And like I said, maybe they're not going through it and their dog is 5, but this is important stuff. So
absolutely learn
from us. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.